Welcome to It's Been How Long? The podcast about Cherry Hill High School East students from the late 1970s and early 80s. This is Kara Siegel. I'd like to welcome in Mary Beth Lynerd Gutstadt to the It's Been How
Hi.
Long podcast studio. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good to be
Oh,
here.
thanks for agreeing to be on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for answering the call. As I start most of these, here we are, almost 44 years post graduation.
Mhm.
Where are you and what are you doing?
I am in Costa, Florida, which is right next to Jupiter, Florida. A lot of people know Jupiter Inlet. It's a very lovely place to live. That's not where I live, but about 20 minutes from West Palm Beach, where the airport is, 20 minutes from Palm Beach per se. Wellington, if anybody's into horsing, is about an hour away. Fort Lauderdale, maybe an hour and a half to two. Miami, a couple hours. So uh, up north, Orlando, Disney's a couple hours. So I love where I am. I really do. We moved here 10 years ago, moved to North Carolina and moved back to Florida. And I wouldn't go anywhere else. We went back to as close as where we could get where we were originally, which we did. So it's a good thing. We love this. They call it the salt life, living the salt life. So we love the salt life.
Oh, that's great.
All things beach. Yep.
That's wonderful. And coincidentally, we can share that we actually lived like within a couple of miles of each other for the
Yep.
3 years that you were in North Carolina, though
Yep.
never met.
No, I had signed up for a 5K at a elementary school, and your name was on the list. And so, I've done that too. I've signed up and not gone for. You just don't feel like it. You don't feel good. It's not your day to run, whatever. But I didn't see you, and I actually do have to tell you that I came in first in my age group.
Oh my gosh.
I did. That doesn't happen a lot, although it does happen more frequently the older you get. If you can just hang in there,
Yes,
and it
yes.
depends on who shows up. So it
Yeah.
just does. So,
Had I shown up, I
depends.
would not have challenged you. I assure you.
No, but it's just who shows up. Like I could come in 10th or first. It's just who's ever there that day. But it's easier the older you are. It really
Yep.
is to place in a race. The younger you are is just somewhat competitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's fun to do those kinds of things. Especially
Yeah.
tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, so I'm doing a 10K. Or
Oh,
Sunday, St. Patrick's Day,
yeah.
but I'm doing
Yeah.
it
Do it
Saturday.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It was my husband who signed me up as in support of the school. And
Uh,
I'm
you're like,
if it's
nah, not today.
well, if it's beautiful weather, I'll go out and walk it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's great. That's great. So you enjoy running. What other sorts of things do you enjoy doing for fun?
I do run. I've done marathons, half marathons,
Oh.
3 half Ironman races. I'm just average. I'm not phenomenal. I just love to do that kind of stuff.
But that's just an
Um,
accomplishments all unto
I
themselves.
love,
That's very impressive.
yeah, I just love to do that kind of stuff. It's all things Florida. We go boating, fishing. There's the Jupiter Lighthouse where they have yoga right there under the lighthouse on the water in the twilight yoga. It's called. Love it. Oh, I do that like as much as I can. So very much outdoorsy kind of lifestyle.
That's
We're
fantastic.
both retired. My husband was a pharmacist at Virtua in Voorhees, and I was a dietitian there. And he's 12 years older than me. So when he retired, I retired down here. So that's what we've been doing for the last few years. I'm actually very blessed, very lucky. I volunteer for the church. And what else do I do? We have a dog. It's just me and him. I fly home quarterly, visit my mom. My mom's alive. She's still 92.
Still back in Cherry Hill?
She lives in Brandywine, right outside the new. When Virtua Voorhees raised the old building, I didn't go to the new one. We came down here about that time. So I never worked it, but Brandywine is right in front of the new Virtua Voorhees, right in front of 73. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a new facility. So that's where she is, and she likes it. Yeah. So I could go see her every 3 months or so. And my kids, they're still in South Jersey. So
All of them?
yes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. That's great. That's
yeah.
great. Yeah. So what did you enjoy doing back in high school? What kind of activities?
I had for the first 2 years of high school, I actually have some show and tell for you if you don't know. It only takes 5 minutes, and we don't have
Yeah,
to do it now. We can do it whenever. And let me explain to you why, and I'll answer your question.
yeah.
Because we just moved into this house and I had to downsize like less than half to the room I had. I had to go through my whole contents of my garage.
Yeah.
And I was throwing stuff out and I was finding stuff like you would not believe.
Yeah, let's have
Um,
show and tell.
I found like stuff, and I have it all out here ready to go because I thought some people
Excellent.
would get. And if it's boring, fine. And whatever you want me to open or don't explore.
Yeah, show
This
us.
is my heritage ID.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I don't look very happy there, do I?
No, no, not
No,
particularly
not at
happy
all.
at all.
No, not at all. I don't know why. Um, I really didn't do that much in high school. I really was very shy. I had I was a late bloom. I guess you would call it a late bloomer. And um I was significantly overweight, like in 8th grade, like
Hmm.
maybe 30 or 50 pounds. Probably the reason I became a dietitian, to be honest with you, or one of the reasons. And so I lost a whole bunch of weight and was very shy and kind of nerdy. I went to Canon Catholic for the first 3 months of high school. And then, so by the time sophomore year came down, I just, with puberty, just lost a whole bunch of weight and just nobody knew who I was. So it's kind of like I was a transitioning student from somewhere else. But by the time I got to senior year, I liked it much better. But in high school, I was on nothing really. College was much better for me. And
I
moving
saw
up
you
like
were
twice.
an office aide
I
and
was an office aide, and some of that that's funny. That brings me to one of the things of my show and tell. Did you notice how it says under? Did you know who Mary Ann Gary is?
yeah, yeah.
She lives in New Zealand. I don't know if you can get a hold of her. She was hilarious.
Yeah,
Um,
she was, I think she was one of our class clowns.
Absolutely, she
Yeah.
was actually. So if you would notice under my yearbook picture and several others, it says NACL Club.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I saw that.
There was no such thing.
Ah.
She made that up. It was the Thought Club. Now that's not that funny now, but it was then. I found my heritage. This
Oh
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the program. I found my heritage diploma.
Yeah.
Some people aren't going to. I'm just going to go through some of this really quick. I found my East diploma, but you don't need to see that. I found the commencement exercises. Much more interesting, I thought, was I found my Girl Scout badge. I was laughing. And remember when Carol Lambiese said we worked at Chess King? I found a Chess King.
Yeah.
I must have been a hoarder. I swear to God. I don't know why I kept all this stuff. I had it for years and years and years.
Well, this is why.
I guess it was all in my garage for years. But there's this guide to cougar activities thing.
Oh
I got such a
wow.
kick out of reading right now. There's
Yeah.
stuff in here, and there's another thing. It was called East Side. I guess it
Yes,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
magazine. Yeah. I only have one issue of this, but do you remember on Valentine's Day we used to give out like carnations, and you
Yeah,
would
yeah.
sign it, and it was like a mystery thing. I found that in here. It says that the class trip in previous years had gone to Great Adventure, but our class decided to go to the Highland, New York, to the base of the Adirondacks. I didn't go. I don't know if we actually did that, but that
Yeah.
was a thought. It says our senior prom was at the Hyatt House on May 2nd.
I'll tell you what, at our
was
reunion, if you come back to our reunion, which I'm hoping is in will be
I can bring all
spring-ish,
this
spring
stuff.
is, yeah, definitely bring that kind of stuff.
Also, I had lost my yearbook
Oh,
somewhere. So you can actually buy your yearbooks on Amazon, in case anybody knows. For $75, you can get a paper copy.
wow, I did not know
And I
that. That
thought
is
that I did,
great
I did,
information.
So it's kind of got a green tint to it, but and then I have Cherry Hill East class of 1980 25 reunion and 20 reunion, 20-year reunion. We gave these things
Yeah.
out too. So yeah, if we ever get together, those would be good things to like sit down and look at. I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, oh my gosh. And the last thing, what I used for my book prop is Cherry Hill High School East Alumni Directory from 2010. So it
Wow.
actually gives everybody's name, what they're doing, And at the time, 2010, of course, that
Yeah.
was what, 15 years ago, but I don't know if they still do it, but apparently I bought it. I don't remember, but I found it
Well,
in
that's
clean
great.
out my garage. So I thought that stuff was cool. So
That
to
very
answer your
much.
question, not much. I did not do really. I don't think I had a spectacular self-image back then. My senior year was awesome though. I hardly came out of my shell and I did more things. I
You
didn't
did
do anything.
something with the student council, it
I
looks like.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't remember what it was. I worked in the office with Carol Lambiase and Jim Jones and helped the secretaries there. And that's pretty much the extent of my high school, except for the salt club. We can't forget the salt club.
Right. So, what did you do after graduation?
I went to college. I went to Marywood College in Scranton, Pennsylvania,
Okay,
and
great.
nutrition and dietetics. And then I came back, and shortly after that, I interviewed for West Jersey Virtue and started to work there. I was there for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
I went to the University in New Haven and got a master's in nutrition and dietetics, but that was not, oh, it was free at the time. You know how they used to reimburse you? I didn't have to, all I had to do was get a B average or something. And I had to drive to New Haven, Connecticut once a month, but it was every Saturday and Sunday for like 18 months. But I did it,
Wow.
and
That's a lot.
it
And
didn't
work
really
full time.
it didn't pan out to, and then not too maybe 10 years. I left Virtua for a year and worked at Pennsylvania Hospital, the first hospital ever in Philly.
Yeah.
That was cool. I got to see all things Ben Franklin and old operating rooms and the medicinal garden they have there where they have
Cool.
foxglove and things like that. And, they explained all that stuff and the history of it, because that truly was the first hospital ever in the United States. So that was fun. I did it for a year. It was a pain in the butt. I had to drop my kids off at school and then not fly, but drive to the speed line. And oh my gosh, it took me like an hour and a half to get there and an hour and a half to come home. And Virtuood took me back after that year. So I ended up being there for quite some time.
That's
And
great.
then, like I told you, my husband retired, so I did also.
Okay. And so have you had any kind of opportunity to travel? I know you traveled up and down the East Coast quite a bit, but
I did.
anywhere in the country?
Yeah, and interestingly, it was through work.
Oh, okay.
I had to keep 75 continuing education credits, and
Sure.
pharmacy, I think, was, I don't remember how many, every 2 years. So
Okay.
we both got credits for the American Society of Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition. So, and they put you up and they paid for it back then. They don't do that, and nobody does that anymore. But we went to Vancouver, and we would always make a trip out of it. San Francisco, New Orleans, it was in Philly, it was in Orlando, it was in Dallas, it was in Phoenix. I can't think of a city in the United States that I haven't been to that I've been to the islands, and then pretty much the only outside of the country was Canada, and then London, England. That's it.
Oh, okay.
We went to London in 2007, so that was cool. That's where
Oh,
Rob Thurston is now, I
yeah,
believe.
he is. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
So was there a class or a teacher at East that influenced you beyond your high school days?
No, I can't say that there was. Like I said, I wasn't real, high school was not this shining point of my
Okay.
life. It really wasn't. I really am much more prouder of accomplishments that I've made since then. But about the senior year, I remember in junior year, I had, there was a math teacher. Everybody's a little bit cocky in high school, I think. So I was remember A track, B track, C track?
Yeah, yeah.
There were tracks. And I was in the A track in trigonometry, whatever this guy's name was, and I got an 88 on a test, and I didn't want to be in the A track anymore. And I was 18 when because my birthday's in October, because I
Okay.
was almost a year older than a lot of you
Yeah.
guys. So I sat there and I'm like, I'm 18 and I want you to sign me into the B track. And he fought me tooth and nail. I can't remember what his name was. And I finally won. And he had to sign it because I was 18. But I was like, good way to shoot yourself in the foot, Mary. Oh, if I had high school to do all over again, at least the first 3 years I would. I have to be honest. I was very shy.
Yeah.
But I loved college. Graduate school was okay. It was a little boring because you had to sit there for like 8 hours a day, 2 days a week for every month.
Yeah, that
Um,
must have been hard.
but other than that, we're loving life. We have 14 grandchildren between the two of us. It's a second marriage, so we have
Oh, okay.
14 grandchildren between the two of us. And my sons, two of them, my son's daughter is in Charlotte, and his
Oh,
son's in Fort Lauderdale, which is another reason we moved to Chapel Hill to split the difference. But then all my kids are in South Jersey still, and my mom and my brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of six.
oh, okay.
So all my brothers and sisters are still up there except for me. Yeah. So
All right. Wow. So how many kids? You have 4 kids?
three.
3 kids?
I had
Okay.
three children. Yeah, 2 boys and a girl.
And
Yeah.
they're all up there, or did you say one is down in Fort Lauderdale?
Fort Lauderdale is my husband's son.
Oh, okay.
All my children are in
Okay. South Jersey.
South Jersey. Yeah.
Okay.
My daughter still lives in Cherry Hill.
Oh, wow.
My other son in Mount Laurel, and one son lives down in Clarksboro. You know where that is? Like South Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Like exit 18
Yeah.
of the New Jersey Turnpike. Yeah. Kind of
Yeah.
far down. Yeah.
Do you have any friends from East that you're still in touch with?
Oh, sure. Carol Lambiese is one of them. Mara Saunders. I lived across the street from Mara Saunders my whole
Yeah.
life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She we were both about 2 years old when we moved in there, Downs Farm,
Oh,
and
nice.
we lived there forever. Just through Facebook, yeah, a bunch of people, but just solely. I mean, if it weren't for that, probably I wouldn't be. In high school, I was good friends with Kay Reddy and
Yeah.
Karen Zelnick and Nadine Redden, but I have no idea. Karen Zelnick, it's funny. Our parents lived in the Washington Park Apartments in Camden before it was old. Her parents and my parents. And her mom was pregnant with her, and my mom was pregnant with me. So we actually knew each other before we knew
Each other. That's wild. Her dad
Yeah,
had the shoe
it
store,
was
right?
fun.
Zelnick's?
Yes, Zelnick
Yeah.
shoe store. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's who it is. Yeah, neither one of them, as far as I know, are on Facebook. I can't find them, or Kay Reddy. I don't know.
Okay.
Some people it's just not their thing. They just
Right. Well, that actually answers my other question. Friends that you had that you lost touch with. So
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. Somebody might know somebody who knows them, and maybe we'll be
exactly.
able to
Yeah,
put you in touch with them.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be great. Yeah, it would be absolutely great. Lou Schaffer lived up the street from me for years. I was friends
Yeah.
with Sherry Cohen. Sherry Cohen's another one I can't find.
Okay.
Remember Sherry Cohen? I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheryl
She lived-
Ross.
Yeah.
Cheryl
So
Rosner.
Sherry lived in Woodcrest. She lived right? Am I talking about the same person?
She
Oh, no.
lived on the back side of so you could cut through the Downs Farm pool. She was on the back hillside,
Oh,
the
okay.
back street. And
All
run
right.
down. Yeah, she was there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to go to Hebrew school with Sherry Cohen all the time because her mom would be like, "It's time to go to Hebrew. Do you?" And so my mom would say, "You have to go home." And I go, "Nope, I'm not going home. I'm going to Hebrew school." I didn't want to go home.
There you go.
I wanted to go to
Cross-cultural
Hebrew school.
exchange.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
So do you have any particular standout memory from high school, either in class or outside with friends, or anything that, just stands out in your memory?
Nothing. It's just, we used to love to go to Kaminsky's and the coastline, and I don't know, Carol and I would we'd laugh at some stuff to this day that no one else is going to appreciate. They're just private jokes that were silly. Not that I wouldn't share them with you, but they're just not worth talking about here. No, not really.
No. One thing I forgot to ask you is, did you have a job? You did have a job back in high school.
Oh, yes. I worked at the Downs Farm Pool when I was 14. That's where I started. I worked at Channel, remember Channel?
Yeah.
Where Penn Fruit was. I worked at Channel for a while. They called us cappies, and our only function was to walk up and down the front of the store. We had to wear a uniform and direct customers what
I could use those. I could use someone like that in most of the places I go into today.
It was just a thing. Like, it's kind of like the people at Home Depot that do that, but it was. Frankly, I think they were just putting young girls up there to get them into the store. And then I was a cash register there, and then after that, I worked at Chuck King with Carol, which was a ton of fun. Yeah, we have very fond memories of doing that together. We talk about that often because some weird things went on there. Like, Our manager was about 35 years old, and we were, what, 18? So he retired or quit. He didn't retire. And he brought out this, everybody has that one drink that they can't drink to this day. So he went to the back and he got these little Dixie cups of Southern Comfort.
Oh yeah.
And we had to drink about 3 or 4 of them. We were never so sick in our entire life. And my father picked me up. He's driving me home. I'm puking out the back of the car. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Nothing. I have a stomach ache."
That's
It's just stuff
hysterical.
like that like we laugh at. Yeah, that's all.
So to this
So,
day, no Southern Comfort for you.
nope. To this day, I can't even smell it. Nope.
That
Can't
I hear
even
you.
smell it.
I hear you.
So yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
is there something you wish classmates knew about you either back in high school or now?
Um, I know I'm very into my faith. I love to volunteer for the church. I volunteer at Birthline on Mondays and at my church. I don't know if you're asking me my life philosophy or like what my favorite book is. What do you get?
Oh, no,
I
this
don't.
was just more,
Okay.
that, it's just something that, I mean, I think you've said a lot already in the fact that
Yeah,
you were really shy and,
yeah,
back in
yeah.
high school. So, I
I
think that's
was.
really telling, for saying, oh, I remember her. She was really quiet. Oh, you were really
Yeah,
shy.
yeah.
So, I mean, I think
Right.
that's the kind of information that I think you kind of already shared that aspect
Right, but I
with us.
actually did very much. I mean, I in spades. I'm not. I don't think of myself like that anymore. I conquered that demon in my life, which is a great thing. So I did, but
Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't do what you do once a week. No way. I'd be a nervous wreck. I think it's great that you do that. That's wonderful. You're very
Thank
laid
you.
back. You just roll with the punches, and that's a wonderful thing. But good for you. That's great. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
So have you been back in the building? If so, when? What was it for? And
Well,
how did it feel?
I went back in the building because I had to get my children working papers. I worked at
Ah,
the Downs Farm Swim Club pool, and when my son was 13 years old, he came home and he goes, "Mom, I got a job at the pool." And I'm like, "You did not." I still lived in Downs Farm at the time, and I said, "You did not." And he said, "Yes, I did." Gosh darn, this kid got himself a job, and back then you had to have working papers.
sure.
So I had to go to East to go inside to get the working papers. My memory of that, that school was not that old when we went there. People don't think about it. It was only 11 years old, the building.
Ah, really? I did
The
not know
first
that.
class was 1969, so I don't know how old the actual, but we were only the 11th graduating class, I believe. You
Oh,
might want to
wow.
confirm that with someone else,
I did
but
not know that.
because everyone
That's
else went to West, and that's why they built East, because it was such an explosion. But so it wasn't really that old, but by the time I got back in there, everybody, I mean, have you ever gone back in your elementary school and you can touch the sides of the walls because they're so narrow? And yeah, you just don't realize. Um,
wow.
it's
Okay.
just everything. It's pretty much the same, just a little older. I was at the front desk, and you remember the administration wing? I think I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
back
yeah,
in there.
yeah.
Um, Other than that, I don't recall ever being in there. Some of those pictures are still. They had pictures on the walls. I do remember that. I was walking
Murals
down the
that were
hall.
still there. Yeah.
People, yeah, they're still there. I don't know what. I imagine everyone's still up there. They're going to run out of room sooner or later, but. I mean, actual pictures of people like the
Yeah.
president of, like, for example, Robin Garland would have been ours. Her pictures on the
Yeah.
wall because she was Greg Deegan and whoever else. It was, I don't know how far back it went, but I remember that being up there. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I don't remember much else about being inside it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So if we go back to 1980 and you're looking ahead 40 years, is this where
okay.
you saw yourself?
Not at all. I didn't think I'd ever have I mean, I love all the athlete. I never saw myself as an athlete. I never saw myself as
Ah,
doing anything like that. I was this chubby little nerd with glasses and buck teeth. I never saw myself like just embracing even what we're doing right now. Like my most nervousness about this whole thing was the technical part of it, the Zoom part.
we got
I was
through that
like,
in no time.
yeah, I know I'm going to mess that part up. Um, no, I love life right now. I really do. We're
Really?
doing wonderfully well, and we're very happy to be back down here. I do miss home. Who doesn't miss home? Everybody misses home and family.
Well, that's great.
My mother, yeah. So we're doing really, really well. So life is good. Life is
Good.
good.
Excellent.
I'm very grateful. Grateful. Yes.
Yeah. So going back, what would be the best piece of advice you would give your 18-year-old self, or maybe you gave your 18-year-old kids?
My 18-year-old self was just don't be so hard on just don't be so, like, go for it, like, figure it out, like, just don't sit there and, think you're nerdy and a loser and uh, I don't know just spread your wings, girlfriend, spread your wings. You got this. You can do it. Tell myself that all the time now. You
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great
So
advice. That
that's what I
is
would tell
great
myself.
advice.
You
Great
can do it. If
advice.
you look into it, if you're willing to put the footwork in, you can do anything. And that's what I would tell myself.
Excellent. Yeah. We can all tell our kids that and ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
So
right.
even now,
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
So,
So we've reached our fast and furious finish, if you will.
okay.
And so
Okay.
did you have a favorite TV show, or did you have a favorite movie or a favorite book from back high school days?
I was never much of a TV person. I never watched a ton of TV. My favorite book is Jane Eyre in spades.
Hmm.
My favorite movie is probably To Kill a Mockingbird.
Hmm.
Um, and contemporary stuff, I love to read John Grisham in true crime now, but I've read a lot of Charles Dickens. I used to love that back in the day.
All right. Did you have a favorite musical group or an artist or a genre of music that you enjoyed back in high school?
Bruce Springsteen in spades.
Okay.
Bruce Springsteen. Every time.
How about Heaven's Edge and Reggie's heavy metal group?
You know what? I didn't know that was in existence back then. Reggie Rue and I have a little bit of a connection that he probably doesn't know about. Real quick, I know this is supposed to be Fast and Furious.
Oh,
So
no,
I
no,
went to a dietitian whose name was Josephine Schwartz, who lived in the Beagle Club.
No.
And her daughter Marissa, is very good friends with Reggie Wu's daughter. What's her name? I forget. So I'm friends with this dietitian and Marissa, and so it's funny because when Reggie Wu's daughter got married, my friend's daughter was in the wedding, so I got to see all the wedding pictures and see him playing, and I think those two girls, his daughter and my friend's daughter, are still very good friends to this day. But I would go see Heaven's Edge, sure, I would.
Yeah,
but I don't remember it. I don't remember.
Yeah, no, he did not have that constitution of that band at that time. But I joke, but yeah. But he was definitely, I think, a heavy metal rocker at the time. So
right, yeah.
So, was there a favorite place to hang out with your friends? You mentioned Kaminsky's, back in high school.
Kaminsky's, Coastline all the time. We went there every weekend. Got there before what time you had to get there before to not pay a cover charge or whatever it was, like all or even the 7-Eleven on Crescent Road. Everybody used to sit there.
Yep. All right, so here's my. All right, here we are. Your high school photo.
They actually cut they cut that off, part of that.
Yeah. Because
they cut saying at the bottom.
Oh, it did, because it says each year we grow a little more, sometimes leaving behind a part of us that we can never again recapture.
And it's supposed to say, I sometimes think the future arrives before we're ready to give up the present. And I just think they ran out of room.
Oh, well, that's really good.
Yeah, so they cut off the end of it, but that's okay.
What language did you take at East, and have you ever found it useful?
Spanish. Actually, right now, because I work at a place called Birthline in West Palm Beach every Monday, and the predominant, half the time I have to go on Google Translator and type in what I want, Spanish. And the other language that is very, I didn't know this about Florida, is Creole.
Oh.
Creole is very popular. So I'm using, not that I took Creole in East, I didn't, I took Spanish. And I went to college made me pick a different language than I took in high school, which in
Really?
retrospect I think is stupid because
Yeah.
you'd get better at the one, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know.
That didn't make sense.
Yeah.
All right. So lastly, I call this your parting shot. Anything you want to say to anybody out there who might be listening? Any last things you want to say to our classmates?
No, it's good to see everybody. I am behind in watching the videos because we did move, but I will catch up. I don't remember the last one. Maybe I'd like to say hello to Michael Lobianco. We were very, very good friends. I was a senior and he was a junior for all that whole year. He was funny. We had a lot of fun together. I'm looking at my notes here. If you see me looking down, I do have a couple, but no, everything, like I said, life is good and I'm thrilled
Excellent.
to do this and can't wait to see. I will catch up. I'll catch up
Oh yeah.
once, I have a little balcony. I have a little balcony out here that looks out onto, it's 82 degrees and sunny. I sit on my balcony and catch up
Nice.
on all your wonderful videos. You're doing a fantastic job. You should be
Well,
proud
thank
of
you.
yourself. Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
should.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you doing this. And if you find yourself back in the Chapel Hill area, stop by.
Absolutely. I will look you up. Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
And maybe you'll have a little mini Florida reunion of all our classmates.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome.
If not,
Or
maybe
maybe I'll actually be home when you guys have one. When you
yeah.
guys have one that you just had, maybe I'll actually be home and get to go because they do try to do that.
Yeah,
And
no,
I
I'm
think at
thinking
Kaminsky's. Weren't you there the last time?
yeah. Oh, so I did
Yeah.
go
It
with a
was like
bunch of
in
people.
October.
Yeah, I
Oh,
got
yeah.
a few people together, but I think Alan
Yeah.
Feldman is trying to organize our class, the whole class, for the spring of 2025. So I've been saying it
Okay.
enough. I'm going to speak it into existence. So,
Okay, that's great. Yeah,
yeah,
that
we'll
sounds
get some
awesome. Look
like
forward
a
to it.
heads up,
Okay.
and maybe we'll
Yeah,
see you there.
great.
All right,
Okay.
take
All
care.
right,
Thank you
Kara.
so much.
Great to talk to you. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Bye-bye.
bye.
Thanks for joining me on It's Been How Long? The podcast about Cherry Hill High School East students from the late 1970s and the early 80s. A shout out to my cousin Brad Corbett, whose podcast We Weren't Friends in High School inspired me to do this podcast and whose advice and encouragement have been so helpful. Thanks also to my husband, Randy Coughdale, who read all the fine print on the podcast hosting website so I wouldn't have to. And thanks to Jeff Lyons, content consultant and guinea pig, and to Deborah Smead, also content consultant. And thank you to all our classmates who are listening in. See you next week.